So, the life return technique is shown to us in its lobby. There are only two people that can use this technique, those being members of the CP9, now CP0, Kumadori, and Rob Luffy. The first showing of this technique was in Chapter 403. Oddly, this technique is in the same chapter of which we see Chopper going arm point to attack Kumadori, and this is the first time that we see Gear Third. Later in Chapter 406, this technique is formally explained by Kumadori, in which he says he can control every aspect of his body. He even includes pubic hair, which I did not know, and that's disgusting. But anyway, Chopper knows about this technique because he's read about it in a book a while ago, and he refers to it as biofeedback. So, with that being said, what is so interesting now in hindsight of all that we know about One Piece and Chopper and Luffy? It's quite interesting, and spoilers for Wano and all that, but it's quite interesting that Kumadori and Rob Luffy have to fight users of human fruits, who then can do things that are similar to the life return technique, because you have Chopper, who is the user of the normal human fruit, and then you have Luffy, of which we find out that he is the user of the human fruit mythical type model Nika. Both Chopper and Luffy can use size increasing abilities. You see this with Kung Fu Point, and then you see this a lot in Gear 5th later on in the post time skip. You see Gear 3rd being shown off in the same chapter in which we first see Life Return, which of course is a size altering ability. However, I would like you to increase the size of my subscriber count by clicking that subscribe button, increase the like amount of this video by clicking the like button, and click the bell so you never miss a multitude of Poly Works videos coming to you every day. And if you can find it, please click the hype button to raise my count on the leaderboard. It's very much appreciated. However, to continue, but then we also see Arm Point used by Chopper to attack Kumadori in this same chapter, of course, which is very Life Return-like because it does increase the muscle mass in his arms. But both Kumadori and Rob Luffy, you could say, end up fighting the awakened forms of these human fruit users, because Chopper in Monster Point was first revealed during the Kumadori fight. Chopper, based on him looking quite similar to the Jailer Beasts, could be a failed awakening. But then we know in the post-time skip in Egghead, Luffy fights Luffy as an awakened Zoan, fighting a mythical awakened Zoan in Luffy. So with all that being said, it's quite funny that both of them have to fight awakened versions of these characters that do basically what they do. And when you get right down to it too, getting back to that whole hair aspect, both Luffy and Chopper do have a lot of hair associated abilities. Chopper with Guard Point, and then I guess you could say too with Kung Fu Point. But then you have Luffy. Luffy's hair does seemingly grow in Gear 4th, but his hair becomes a very interesting aspect of his kit in Gear 5th, as he can summon objects from his hair, as his hair is the same material, presumably, as the Hagoromo around his body. So with that being said, it's quite funny too, thinking about all this now, that outside of the CP9 turned CP0 agents, we do have two other characters who are Zoans who seem to be using aspects of Life Return in their fighting style, and those are the sisters of Boa Hancock, Boa Sandersonia and Boa Marigold, as both of them can turn their hair into snakes. However, what's even funnier about this now, considering all the characters I have named, there is an odd man out, and that man is Kumadori. Why is he the odd man out, you may ask? Well, Out of all of these characters who are using Life Return and have Life Return like abilities, he is the only one without a Zoan Fruit ability, and I find that fascinating. As of this recording, Kumadori is not a Zoan Fruit user, yet he introduces us to Life Return only to be one-upped constantly by Zoan Fruit characters, and I find that fascinating. However, with that being said, give me your thoughts and tell your friends about Polypede. What's it?